I put out my 10 list of 10 column on NBCSportsEdge.com, rotoworld.com. I want to talk about one of the lists there, which is preseason storylines I'm buying, okay? And so 10 of them. And one storyline that didn't make the list but just came in just as we were hitting the air, looks like Zach Wilson isn't going to play for at least the first 4 weeks. Joe Flacco officially named the starter for the Jets week 1. Elijah Moore, the one start that Joe Flacco had last year against Miami, Elijah Moore was really good.
Yeah, what was it, 8 receptions, 141 yards and a touchdown. Just turned in, apparently Joe Flacco turns Elijah Moore into peak Devontae Adams.
But does this, for anyone that's drafting tonight, tomorrow, people do draft throughout the first weekend as well, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. Are you upping any of the Jets' pass catchers, Elijah Moore maybe specifically, because, hey, we feel we at least know what Flacco is?
Yeah, I'm upping all of them because, you know, in terms of what goes into the betting market, we have Joe Flacco as a better quarterback right now than Zach Wilson. Wilson has more upside. He has more potential to be great. Flacco does not at this stage, but I think he certainly raises the floor and he takes away the disaster potential in the first few weeks for guys like Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, again, I say this comment all the time, but Joe Flacco is a professional quarterback, yes. And I do not. I always people think I'm being insulting there, but I'm not. Like, he can make the throws he needs to. He can run an offense. Like, you know, if he tells a guy to run a 10-yard out, he's going to hit a guy on a 10-yard out. Like, and so, I prefer, at least early part of the season, I prefer Elijah Moore to Garrett Wilson. I prefer him to Corey Davis. I think this is good news for the running game because I think they won't be able to, you know, focus on the run game as well. They'll have to at least respect the pass. So, yeah, and by the way, Elijah Moore, interesting player in week number 1.
Definitely. So, in terms of the preseason storylines that you're buying, we're going to run through a few of these. Now, the first one is about the Vikings offense having a breakout season. We're going to get to your bold predictions a bit later. About half of them are about the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
so
I'm in.
You've got
Skull.
the Vikings coming as the second coming of the 2007 Patriots by the sounds of it. So walk us through why you're buying the Vikings offense.
Well, it starts with Kevin O'Connell. It starts with Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips coming over from the Rams and Sean McVay. They spent a lot of time with McVay. Those offensive systems are what they believe in, and also just talent. I mean, I feel like, and by the way, you're starting to hear, and I think you're going to hear more and more. Remember about, like, once Urban Meyer left, there was this massive sigh of relief, you know, and like just about what a disaster it was. I don't think it was such a disaster under Mike Zimmer, but it is clear hearing some of the quotes that are coming out of Minnesota that he ran a very tight ship, like a very tight ship, and the players just weren't responding to that. And so I think with a younger coach, a more of a player-friendly coach in KOC, and then as you see on your screen here, Cousins, you know, Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith, KJ Osborne, who emerged, Alexander Madison,
Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, they just had look for a fourth wide receiver. You could do worse than Jalen Reagor, who was a first-round pick in the NFL for a reason.
He was,
right, and so. Anyway, all I'm saying here is that they have a lot of pieces. It is going to be a fantasy-friendly offense. They're going to throw quite a bit. We'll get into my bold predictions, but that is one of the preseason storylines I'm buying, that the Vikings offense will have a breakout season under Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, the thing there is that the unknown, new things, they create upside because we just haven't seen it before. So there's huge upside for Cousins to potentially lead the league in passing or passing touchdowns, which we're going to talk about as well. And Justin Jefferson might have the highest ceiling of any skill position player in the game. Now, another preseason storyline that you are buying. We've talked about this guy a lot. This is the Ramondre Stevenson show. And you're buying that he will get half the early down work and all the James White work.
You heard Bill Belichick praise Ramondre Stevenson's, pass route running, and his blocking. And Belichick's not a guy that gives out praise often, and so he's been, for Belichick, effusive in his praise of Ramondre Stevenson. It's also just sort of like process of elimination. Like, I don't want to sit here and say I'm some brilliant detective, but you're like, well, now that James White is retired, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Ty Montgomery? Is it going to be Damian Harris? Like, Ramondre Stevenson, to the eye test, is the best pass-catching running back on that team, to me, at this stage of their respective careers. He also has the ability to go between the tackles, so it doesn't allow defenses to be like, oh, when James White was in there, you were sort of like, okay, we know it's a passing play, right? If, LeGarrette Blount was in there back in the day. We're like, all right, we're going up the middle here. So I think it gives them more versatility with their offense, which they need because it is an offense in transition with Josh McDaniels now in Las Vegas. I'm a big believer in Rondre Stevenson's talent, and I think he's going to have the opportunity. But make no mistake, Damian Harris will get some of the, he's going to still score a decent amount of rushing touchdowns and get some of the early down work. But Rhamondre Stevenson has a chance on what should be a run-first team to be special this year.
Yeah, so only 2 New England running backs since Corey Dillon in 2004 have gotten north of 250 carries in a season. Dillon had 345 that year, different era. So the two guys
I don't think he gets 250 carries, but I absolutely think he gets over 250 touches.
Yes. And we haven't had a running back in New England get over 1,000 rushing yards since LeGarrette Blount in 2016. I think Rhamondre could definitely flirt with that.
Keep in mind, Harris got banged up a little bit last year. He's a bruising kind of running back, so there's always that potential that he misses some time. And we saw what Rhamondre Stevenson could do when he was the starter. He's going behind Damian Harris on Yahoo. I think that's a mistake. I have Stevenson higher than Damian Harris.
Yep. Okay, another complicated running back situation, as it is every year in Kansas City. So one of the other storylines you're buying is that Clyde Edwards-Helaire will lose a decent number of touches to Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon this season.
You ever been to Vegas?
I have been to Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Kansas City running backs, you know what I am?
Roulette table?
I'm out.
Tapped out. Okay.
Look, like that's what that was. I'm getting questions in my ear. That was me being out.
Yeah. I'm glad. I don't think that's
what the blackjack dealers
okay.
blackjack dealers do. They show that they're out. They show that they're not stealing any chips from the casino. I am out because I do think Isaiah Pacheco is going to get some run here. I do think they like Jerick McKinnon, especially on third down and passing down. I do think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire has gotten multiple opportunities to prove he can be the guy, and he has failed. And more importantly, they don't need to run. They've got Patrick Mahomes. They showed last year, screw it, we're just going to throw every down, and you know what? It worked for them. So I think it might be a little bit more balanced this year without Tyreek Hill, but they'll get creative. They use Travis Kelce sometimes in the backfield and their tight ends. I'm sure they'll do some sweeps for like MVS, and Sky Moore is going to be involved in the running game. I believe they will have a good running game. The Chiefs will, but I don't believe any of these guys will have enough standalone, consistent fantasy value this year. If you want to take a late flyer, McKinnon or Pacheco, I'm good with it. I don't mind it, but I'm out on wanting to start any of those guys.
Yeah, it's the most frustrating situation in the league from a fantasy perspective because no one schemes up running backs better than Andy Reid does in terms of how they run block. No one creates more yards before contact than the Kansas City Chiefs, but it just feels like another one of those years where they've got 3 running backs who are between 400 and 600 yards rushing, and you can't really play any of them.
Yeah, they'll have good games, but like try figuring out, this is going to be a Pacheco game. This is the CEH game. Like it's just, they're going to mix and match, and that's the key, I think, that people forget about fantasy football. It's not just about the production. It's about knowing when to start those guys. Because we'll look here a year from now and be like, Pacheco had these good games, and CEH had these good games, but I think it's going to, barring injury, it's going to be hard to know, this is the week that you start this guy.
Yeah, so a rookie with a clearer path to playing time than Isaiah Pacheco is Isaiah Likely. Another guy that you're buying. So you're buying that he is going to have an immediate role in the Baltimore offense.
Yeah, I'm buying it because you hear it from everybody. You hear it from beat reporters. You hear it from the team. You see it in the production that he had in the preseason. And again, you sort of just like, okay, let's look at this logically. They've got Mark Andrews, okay. They've got Rashad Bateman. And then what do they got? I mean, Devin DuVernay,
Devin DuVernay.
right, DeMarcus Robinson. They think they have something in Isaiah Likely. They're very excited about him. I agree with them, by the way. I think they have that as well. I think he's a really talented guy. I was texting last night with an NFL insider. I don't want to say this person's name, but this NFL insider, we were talking sort of about sleepers. And I said, I really like, Isaiah Likely. The person said Baltimore loves Isaiah Likely. And I said, I know. Peter King said that on my show last week, as well. And he goes, yeah, I know. I wish they would stop talking about him. He's I'm getting killed in all my drafts because people are now are on to Isaiah Likely. So I'm totally buying it that he's going to have an immediate role in the Ravens offense and likely be the third passing option for Lamar Jackson, who I know you have as your fantasy ride or die this year. We both expect a monster year from Lamar Jackson, and I don't think it's going to be as run-heavy an offense as they think. As people think.
I agree. And I think the thing with Likely as well is that people are just viewing him as Mark Andrews' backup and as a tight end too with a really low ceiling. You need to view him as like a wide receiver 3 because he is basically a wide receiver who just lines up at the tight end position. He was the highest graded tight end in PFF history. That's pretty good.
Yes.
That's pretty good. And I think that he's going to get a lot of carries.
And by the way, the Ravens they run a ton of 12 personnel, right? They like having 2 tight ends on the field. So I think he's going to play a lot of snaps with Mark Andrews. I agree. He is not Mark Andrews' backup. Like, they got 2 tight ends, and, we have seen it over the course, go back to the Patriot days. Like, we have seen offenses have 2 productive fantasy tight ends. Think about the Eagles with Ertz and Goddard back in the day as well. So especially when there's a narrow target tree like there is in Baltimore, give me some Isaiah Likely as a late-round flyer. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.